Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Today I'm sharing the cards I made using Love From Lizi's November 2021 card kit. The theme is Oh Santa, and as you can see, this is a really fun and whimsical Christmas kit. As I'm recording this voiceover, the kit and most of the add-ons are still available. I will have links provided in the description box if you are interested in any of the products I feature in this video. So let's go ahead and get started with card number 1. I'm using a card sketch for inspiration. This is from MFT. It's number 183. If you are interested in any of the card sketches I use in this video, I do share all of that information on my coordinating blog post. The link is provided in the description box below, or you can simply head over to kristiemarcotte.com. The pattern papers in the kit this month are A4 size. So it's a little bit narrower than an 8.5 by 11 sheet and a little bit longer. So there is quite a bit of pattern paper. Most of the sheets have a spot glitter finish, so it has that pretty sparkle, but it doesn't make a mess since it is all sealed. For the background, I'm using one of the pattern papers that has lots of different Christmas sentiments. I rounded the bottom 2 corners. Attach that piece onto some white pearlescent cardstock, and this is an add-on bundle you can purchase. I love Lizi's pearlescent cardstock bundles. I'm adding a strip of light blue cardstock, and this is one of the cardstock colors that's included in the kit, and also that green piece I'm using for the background. I'm adding one of the tags. There are 4 of these circle tags, 2 different designs. So this is Santa putting some presents underneath the tree. I am popping it up using some thin foam squares. I left a gap where it'll go over that blue banner, but I will put some scrap cardstock there, or this time I'm using some of the pattern paper pieces. I'll put liquid adhesive on the back and adhere it to the right side on top of that banner. So I am changing up the sketch just a bit. I'll add one of the bows, and this is a pre-tied bow that's included in the kit. I love that they're pre-tied, so I don't have to fuss with that bow. I'll attach it to the tag using a small glue dot. To finish off the card, I'll add a few of the sequins. This is the mix that's included in the kit. There are lots of pretty blue colors. There's a lighter blue and a brighter, more of a royal blue. I'm using the lighter blue. I'll put 2 in the upper left-hand corner and 1 to the right of the Santa tag. I'm using an embellishment wand to pick those up, adding a drop of Barely Art liquid glue and just pressing them in place. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 1. Now moving on to card number 2. The card sketch is from Sugar Sketch. It's number 14. I'm using some peach polka dot paper for the background. Before I add it to that peach colored cardstock, I am putting a couple of Love From Lizi peel-offs on the very bottom portion. These are the clear gold mirror peel-offs. It's one of my favorite colors. I'm using the narrowest width and also the medium width. This peel-off color is included in one of the peel-off bundle packs that you can purchase as an add-on. Just wrap those ends around the back, put some ATG tape on the back of this panel, and layer it on some peach colored cardstock. And this is cardstock from my stash. I'll put my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. For most of my cardstock layers, I do add an additional 1/8 of an inch. For the circle element on the sketch, I'm using some of the vellum. This is a pattern paper vellum that's included in the kit. Since it's always tricky to adhere vellum without that adhesive showing, I thought this would be the perfect spot since most of the circle is covered. So I did put some ATG tape on the back of the top portion of the circle, and I could attach it down. The bottom will be loose, but it's not going to come off because I have all those other pieces on top of it. For the large banner on the left, I just used some more of the peach colored cardstock. And for that small banner, I used some of the white pearlescent cardstock. I'll stamp out the sentiment Merry Christmas. I'm using Clay Mask Ink Color by Catherine Pooler. And this sentiment is from the add-on stamp set. There's also a little stamp that has these tiny little dashes. So I thought that would be really cute to put around the sentiment. I'm using the same ink color, Just lightly stamping it, and now it looks like it's sort of sparkling almost. I'll round the top two corners, and before I attach it to the card, I will add some scrap pieces of cardstock. Just want to keep everything nice and level. I'll add a piece on the right side where it goes off of the banners that are on the left side of the card. I'm just running my fingers across the front to see if there's any noticeable bumps. But everything seemed nice and smooth, so I can attach that to my card. Instead of the heart that's indicated on the sketch, I'll be adding this little present. This is a punch out that's included in the bumper pack. And I did put some foam squares underneath so I could pop it up. One final finishing touch, I'm adding 2 of the star stickers that are included in the kit. They're the same peach color and they have some glitter on top. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 2. For card number 3, the card sketch is from Freshly Made Sketches. This is number 300. I have some more of the pattern paper with all those Christmas sentiments. And I have 2 other pattern papers, some of that peach polka dot and also some blue polka dot that has a few glitter stars. I'll layer all of these pieces on some red cardstock. And I do have an oval cut out of the background. I will be using that here shortly. I'll put my card front onto a card base. I will leave that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Next, I'll attach the peach polka dot paper. I'm using some liquid adhesive to adhere this piece since the background paper does have some of that spot glitter finish. Just want to make sure everything will stay attached. Then I'll adhere the blue polka dot paper. I've stamped out the sentiment on a white oval die cut, and I'll be layering it on that same red cardstock, and that's the piece I cut out from the background. This sentiment is included on the stamp set in the kit. I love the font. To keep that oval nice and level, I did put some foam dimension on the very left-hand side. Then I'll put some scrap cardstock in the center. And I won't need any additional layers for the very right side since it'll be sitting on top of that blue polka dot paper. I'll put liquid adhesive on the back and adhere it to the card. We'll also add one of the pre-tied bows. This is the peach polka dot color. I'll put a small glue dot on the back and adhere it to the right side underneath the sentiment. And I decided to add a little bit of color inside the holly leaves and also the berries. I'm using some green glitter Nouveau drops and also some red crystal drops. The berries do stamp out black, but I'm just putting those drops on top so it'll have a touch of red. Also put a few of the gem stickers that are included in the kit. Put 2 of them in the upper left-hand corner and 1 to the right of the sentiment. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 3. For card number 4, the card sketch is from MFT. This is number 560. For the background paper, I'm using some of the light blue pearlescent cardstock, and this is included in the add-on bundle. For the small rectangle, I'm using some of the blue polka dot paper that has the glitter stars. I'll add a couple of the silver clear mirror peel-offs to the very bottom. Since you'll only see the very right-hand side, I don't need a full strip. I did want to make sure to get it nice and straight, so I laid that first peel-off across the card, then I just peeled up the left-hand side and trimmed it off. Now I can add the blue polka dot paper. I'll be rounding just the bottom right-hand corner. And I'll do the same for the cardstock layer and also the card base. This blue cardstock is cardstock from my stash. The kit does include, I think it's 5 sheets of cardstock, but I always bring in additional cardstock since I add a lot of layers to my cards. The large circle with Mrs. Claus I cut out from one of the pattern papers. The small circle with Santa, this is from the bumper pack. And this is fun since it is a tiny decoupage piece. So there's 3 different pieces. I am taking my scissors and trimming off just that tiny tab since this is a punch out. The decoupage is always fun. You can leave it plain or you can add that extra dimension. So I'm using some very thin squares, and these were included in both of the special edition Christmas kits that Lizi has out right now. I'm cutting some of those pieces even smaller since this is a very tiny decoupage image. So remove the release paper and layer all 3 of those pieces together. Before I attach Santa or Mrs. Claus, I will add some scrap paper just on the portion of the circle that goes off of the blue polka dot paper. And I decided just to use some of the leftover from that bumper pack decoupage piece. So I'll put some liquid adhesive on the back and adhere this piece down first. And then I'll do the same for Mrs. Claus. I'll just use some of that scrap paper. After I attached that piece, I decided I would pop up the Mrs. Claus circle. I didn't want to add a lot of extra dimension, so I'm using those same very thin foam squares. Just remove the release paper and attach her, basically following the design of the sketch with those 2 large circles. For the sentiment, I'm using the dies that are included in the kit. These are so fun. It has ho 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 in 3 different sizes. And I cut these out from some white glitter cardstock. Gluing them down using some liquid adhesive. Then to finish off the card, I couldn't decide if I wanted to use the clear gem stickers or some of the sequins. So I pulled both of them out and placed them on top of the card to see what I liked better. Decided to go with the sequins, and I'm using that light blue color again. I think it matches beautifully with the blue polka dot paper. I'll put 2 of them in the upper right hand corner and 1 to the left of Mrs. Claus. And there is my finished card. This is one of my favorites, but do let me know which card is your favorite. I love all of the blue added in with the traditional Christmas colors. And that's why I decided to paint my nails blue instead of red for the video. For card number 5, one of the pattern paper sheets has a very large image. It has Santa and a tree. So I decided to fussy cut out the Santa. Since it's such a large image, you wouldn't be able to fit both of them on a card, at least not American Standard A2 size card. You'd have to trim down part of the image. I will be popping up Santa, not the bottom portion where all of the snow is. And I'm attaching this to some of the blue polka dot paper. I'll use some ATG tape on the bottom portion where the snow is. Now this piece does not go all the way across, but that's okay. I don't mind that little bit of the blue polka dot paper on the edge. I will be stamping the sentiment directly onto the card, and I want to make sure I get a good impression, so I am using my mini MISTI. This is a stamp that's included in the kit. This is such a fun sentiment. It's all fun and games till Santa checks the naughty list. I thought that would be the perfect sentiment to go with the Santa image. I'll also be using a couple of the Snowflake image stamps. I'm using a very light blue color that almost matches the background. This is the Tranquil color by Catherine Pooler. I have just 2 of the snowflakes. There are 3. And I'm randomly stamping them on the background paper. Some of them will go off the edge. I think that adds just a little bit more to the card. I'll layer this panel on some dark blue cardstock, then put my card front onto a card base. If I didn't mention earlier, all of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size. For a final finishing touch and a little bit of sparkle, I'll be adding one of the mini circle peel-offs inside each of the snowflakes. And this is the silver holographic color, brand new color in the mini circle style, and it is gorgeous. You can see how sparkly it is on the video. So there is my finished card. I really love how this turned out. Very simple, but adding just those extra touches I think really makes a difference. For card number 6, I'm using some of the light blue pearlescent cardstock and also a stitched snowflake die from Lawn Fawn. The card sketch is from MFT. This is number 566. I thought all of those strips on the sketch would be perfect with the sentiment in the pattern paper. So I cut out 4 different pieces, making sure to get a full sentiment on each of them. I layered the blue Snowflake paper on some of the blue polka dot paper. I'll put my card front onto a card base. Next, I'll attach each of the sentiments, and I decided I would pop those up. Thought about just gluing them down first, but adding that extra dimension I think really made a difference. I'm using some regular foam dimension. Each of the sentiment strips are about 3/4 of an inch wide, so I did need to trim down my foam tape just a little bit. I wanted to have a wide enough border so you can see that blue polka dot paper in the background, so I cut the blue pearlescent cardstock piece to 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. This is the first time I've tried this sketch. I just thought it was perfect to add all of those sentiments in each of those strips. I think it would be nice to add an image in that lower left-hand corner. If you didn't have a sentiment, you could put that image on top of some different pattern papers. So I'm onto the very final sentiment strip, and that will go in the upper right-hand corner. Since I don't want to cover up the sentiments, I decided not to add a large image. Instead, I'll be using a few of the punch outs, and these are from the bumper pack. So they're all small circles. I have one with Mrs. Claus giving Santa a kiss, a star, and also a heart. I'll glue Mrs. Claus and Santa down on the right side of the card. I'll tuck that star above that top sentiment, and I'll add the heart on top of those bottom two sentiments. Wasn't sure at first where I wanted to place that star, but I did put it on top of that Christmas time sentiment. For final finishing touch, I'll add some more of the sequins using that light blue color again. It's definitely my favorite. I'm using just the small size. I'll put 2 in the upper left hand corner and 1 underneath Mrs. Claus and Santa. And there is my finished card. This one was really fun. I'm looking forward to trying this card sketch again. I really like the stitch snowflakes in the background, adds very lovely detail without any extra dimension. And moving on to card number 7. This is one of the larger images that's included in the bumper pack. It's about 3 inches by 6 inches. So I did trim it down on both sides. That way it would still fit on an American Standard A2 card. I have some of the blue polka dot paper for the background. I layered it on some silver mirror cardstock, and this is cardstock that's included in the kit. I wanted to save some of that middle portion, so I did cut out a scallop oval, and I can use that on another project. And I did fill in that gap with some scrap cardstock. Just want to make sure there isn't that noticeable dent on the front of the card. Before I attach the Santa panel, I will put just one peel off on the very bottom portion. These are the clear silver mirror, using just the narrowest width and just putting it along that very bottom edge. I wrap the ends around the back, putting ATG tape on the back of this piece and adding it to my card. The image panel is slightly wider than that background silver cardstock layer, but I didn't want to trim it down any further. For the sentiment, I'm using a couple of dies that are included in the kit. There's this fun banner, and there's also the sentiment Merry Christmas, and that piece fits inside the white banner. I cut it out from some blue cardstock, put double-sided tape on the back, then I'll be inlaying all of these little pieces. I cut out the holly leaves from some green cardstock, and apparently I didn't cut it out sufficiently since the very edge was missing. I tried to pull that piece out, but it was already attached. That's okay, I just glued the other piece down on top. For the star, I used a small scrap piece of gold satin mirror cardstock, and the letters for Merry Christmas I cut out from some white glitter cardstock. And I did speed this portion up quite a bit as I'm inlaying all of those tiny pieces. I like having it nice and flat, and it still has that extra sparkle from the glitter and also that satin mirror cardstock. I did keep the inside piece of the banner from the white cardstock. And I'll glue this down first. I'll add that inside white banner piece, and then I can attach the blue sentiment banner on top. And for the blue banner, I can just remove the double-sided tape from the back side. We'll also put just a couple drops of liquid adhesive in the areas where I didn't get any of that double-sided tape. Then to finish up the card, I'll bring in some of the clear gem stickers. Put 2 in the lower right-hand corner, 2 in the upper left-hand corner, and 1 next to the sentiment on the left. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 7. Lizi's bumper packs include so many fun punch-out pieces. You can even assemble little boxes, envelopes, and bows. There's also a couple sheets of letter stickers, although I didn't use any of those. For card number 8, I'm stamping the sentiment Merry and Bright, and this is a sentiment that's included on the stamp set that's in the kit. I stamped it on some white pearlescent cardstock. I don't want that ink to smear, so I will be doing some heat embossing. I used Love From Lizi's Glossy Clear embossing powder, and I'll just heat set that with my pink heat gun. I used a pierced rectangle die to cut out that background piece, just for some extra detail. I'll also add some of the blue holographic peel-offs, and this is a brand new color. It's the sheet that's included in the kit. I'm using the widest width and also the medium width, putting just a small piece on the right side of the sentiment, and then I'll have that longer piece continuing past the sentiment on the left. Using my craft knife to trim off the edge. And I really need to change the blade on my craft knife. It's not very sharp right now. So I'll add the second piece, and this is the medium width. So you can see I tried to cut that piece and it did not go all the way through, so I'm trying to attach it again. Now I'll adhere that same strip on the left side. And this will add just a little extra detail and some of that beautiful sparkle from the holographic peel-offs. I'll attach my card front onto a card base, and this will be all white in the background. I am putting a lot of extra adhesive on the back. Also some liquid adhesive along the outside edge since it does have that pierced detail. And it was heat embossed. I just want to make sure everything lays nice and flat. I'll even put an acrylic block for some added weight. And it does end up nice and flat later. It may not look like it in the video, but after it's sat for a bit, it's perfectly flat. For the images on the card, I'm using some of these fun 3D stars. This is a sheet that's included in the kit. It has all of the score lines, so you'll fold all of those, and then it has little tabs on the back side. You'll fold those in as well. I'm using some 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape on those tiny little tabs. And this is the only area where the star will be attached to your project. It does add some extra dimension. So just a warning, this would not be an ideal card to try to mail without extra postage. Plus the star would get crushed. So now I can remove all the release paper. Now I would suggest also adding a drop of liquid adhesive. It may be because I attached them to some pearlescent cardstock, my star did end up popping off. So I went in later and put some liquid adhesive, and now it's attached just fine. I'm pressing just those little tab areas down, try not to crush the center of the star. I'll also add a small red star. And I just skipped over the portion of me adding all that double-sided tape since you saw me do it for the blue star. I love this card. It's very patriotic. I think a patriotic Christmas card is just perfect. To finish off the card, I'll add some of the sequins. I generally stick to just one color of embellishments, but I decided to use 3 different colors of sequins. I have 2 of the blues in the upper left-hand corner, and I'll add a red sequin to the right of that blue star. So there is my finished card, and I love how this one turned out. Now moving on to card number 9. Have some fun pattern paper for the background that has different icons. I'll be adding one of these punch out strips, and these are included in the bumper pack. Has lots of little trees. Most of the images in the bumper pack also have that sealed spot glitter, so everything is super sparkly. I'm adding some peel-offs along the edge of that tree border, and this is this beautiful ruby red mirror color. It's included in one of the add-on peel-off packs. Wrap those ends around the back, add this piece onto some dark red cardstock. Put my card front onto a card base, leaving that 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. For the image on the card, I'm using the other circle tag that's included in the kit. There's the Santa with the tree, and then there's also Mrs. Claus giving Santa a kiss on the cheek underneath the mistletoe. And that's super sweet. I will be popping it up using some of the thin foam squares. I prefer the thin dimension, that way I don't have to pay additional postage if I choose to mail this card. I'll remove the release paper and add it to the center of the card. You may have noticed when I put the peel-offs, I had a gap in the center. That's because I knew I would cover it up with this image. I've already stamped out the sentiment, and I also fussy cut it. This is Season's Greetings. I'll adhere it to the left side next to Santa. I'll add some of the foam dimension on the left where it's not touching the circle tag, and then adhere it to the card. For final finishing touch, I'm adding a few of the mini heart peel-offs, and this is the same ruby red mirror color. I'll put 2 of the hearts above the sentiment and 1 above Mrs. Claus. The mini shape peel-offs are some of my favorite. There's hearts, circles, and also stars. I thought about adding some of the gem stickers, but I decided there was already enough on this card. Now moving on to card 10, and this is my final card. I cut out a large stitched banner, used some of the white pearlescent cardstock. I have some blue polka dot paper for the background. Just add those 2 pieces together. Using another punch out strip from the bumper pack. This is blue and it has glittery stars across it. I'll adhere that to the upper portion of the card. Had a little bit too much, so I just flipped over the panel to trim off the extra. I'm adding some of the blue holographic peel-offs to the edge of that star piece using the narrowest width. Since you won't see most of it, I only need to add a small piece on those very outside edges. I'll wrap the ends around the back. Then I'll be layering this blue polka dot paper on some of the silver mirror cardstock. And you can see I cut out a very large rectangle from the center, and I'll save that for another project. I did not get this down straight at first, so I'm trying to adjust it. Easiest solution was to just go and trim off the one side where I didn't get it all nice and even. I did put some scrap cardstock in the center. And I'll layer this piece onto my card base. For the image on the card, this piece has Santa holding some presents with the sentiment Season Greetings underneath, and it has a fun glittery frame around it. I layered it first on some white cardstock and then again on the light blue pearlescent cardstock. I'll be adding this piece on top of the white banner. First, putting all of those scrap pieces of cardstock so everything is nice and level. So a large piece underneath where that star strip is and just a narrow piece on the top. Then I'll glue it down using some liquid adhesive. Underneath the sentiment, I'm adding one of the pre-tied bows. This is that same light blue polka dot paper, and it has stockings and presents on it. One of the sides of the bow was pulling up a bit, so I did add a second glue dot on that side. To finish up the card, I was going to use those clear gem stickers, but I didn't think they had enough contrast, so instead I'm using some of the sequins. And I'll just add 2 of them in the upper left-hand corner using that light blue color again. I was trying to figure out where I wanted to place the 3rd one, but it just didn't look right. And luckily I laid those gem stickers down very lightly, so I was able to remove them easily. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 10. Now here's another look at the 10 cards I made using Love From Lizi's November 2021 card kit. The theme is Oh Santa. This is such a fun Christmas kit with whimsical images. As I'm recording this voiceover, the kit and many of the add-ons are still available. Some have sold out though. Since this is a monthly kit, quantities are always limited. The only way to guarantee receiving a kit is to sign up and subscribe. And coming very soon, the December kit will be releasing. If you are interested in subscribing, I do have links provided in the description box below. Now here's everything I still have left over. 2 full sheets of cardstock and at least 2 half sheets of some of the other colors, a ton of pattern paper, but only 3 full sheets. I also have 2 of the half sheets of the vellum and then a partial sheet. Here is all that extra silver mirror cardstock. I still have most of the stars. There's also a sheet that you can cut apart to make these little postage stamp look. I have most of the sticker sheet, 2 of the circle tags. Here's the rest of the sequins. I only have 2 of the pre-tied bows. Most of those gem stickers since I kept using the sequins. Here are all the dies. I used all of them but the Noel. There is the peel-off sheet, the stamp set. And I never did use any of these punch-out tags. Since I had the bumper pack, I had so many other punch-outs to use as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.